Joefer here, the Cranky Old Gay Guy. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about some personal issues. So, how did this all come about? Well, as you all know, I have I started a new recent side project, a podcast that is all AI. AI voices. I upload a video or a script. They read through it and then they change everything and go off in an odd direction and talk about it. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, I put 3 or 4 videos through and the hosts keep calling me Joe. So I, respelled my name to make it more phonetic and they call me Jeffrey. So I put in the phonetic, the international phonetic spelling, as well as capitalizing everything. And I put in like 4 sentences I typed in saying, this is how you pronounce my name. It's not this, 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 and this. Well, they came back at me with a 5.5-minute podcast talking about how they didn't understand why this person, this Joefer, and after that they started calling me Joe again, was so uptight about people pronouncing his name right. And they just kind of dig for 3 or 4 minutes. And then they start talking about how, well, it's respectful to use someone's real name. And it just means that they are this quality and they've got this going for them and they're precise and all this. And then they got really complimentary. And I thought, wow, I was listening to this going, wow, why are they attacking me? I mean, given they're just AI. And then they were saying I have issues. And I thought, well, I probably do have issues. And I'm thinking about it. And I have had issues, a lot of issues through my life, I'm sure of it. So let's go back in time a little bit. And one of my first issues I had happened as a child. And I talked about this in other things, I think what caused it. But I had issues with disrobing in front of anyone after like the age of 5 or 6. 5.5, 5, something like that. I didn't want to take my shirt off in front of anyone. I didn't want to change clothes in front of my brothers. I mean, we all shared the same room. My older sister and 4 boys all were in the same room. My little sister was in my parents' room in a toddler bed or a crib. But I just became really uptight about that. And that issue lasted all the way through high school. And I didn't get over it until I started going to a nude beach after I turned 18. Now, the reason for this issue, I think it stems back to being accosted when I was in kindergarten in the boys' bathroom by older boys who ridiculed me for being undeveloped and for being tiny and being small and being girly and having a skinny little body. And they just kind of made me feel ashamed. And the threat that they would kill me if I told anyone what had happened kind of just dug in and stayed there. And it caused a lot of issues, like refusing to use bathrooms at school and holding in all day until I got well into high school. I mean, those things they're real, and that was an issue for me. Other issues was when I was a teen in high school. Well, actually, it started in middle school. My hair got really, really, really curly when I reached puberty. But curly hair wasn't the thing. Straight hair and feathered hair was the in thing. And that's what the cool kids had. So my brother and I both, he had wavy hair, I had curly hair. We were a year apart. And that was an issue because you want to fit in, you want to be accepted. We would wet our hair down at night and then put on a stocking cap and sleep in it. And then take it off in the morning and our hair would be straight and stuck to our heads. But it would be straight. Now, if that's not an issue, I don't know what is. But that was one of the issues that I had growing up. Another was when I got into high school, I'd been wearing glasses since the 3rd grade. And my glasses just got thicker and thicker every year. And when I got to high school, I was bad enough in middle school being teased because I had thick glasses, being called Mr. Magoo and blind. But in high school, they were even thicker. And it was time to get new glasses. And I chose a rimless, because it was the 70s, a rimless glass that was tinted, and it looked really, really cool on the ones you put on. Oh, wow, this is really nice. And then the doctor said, well, yours aren't going to look that way. And it's like, well, why not? And they go, well, yours are going to be thicker. And I said, but will they look the same? He goes, same style, but they're going to be thicker. And I thought, okay. So I went ahead and got them. And they're so thick. They're thicker on the outside edge than they are on the inside. And that is so when you look sideways, everything stays the same. Or when you look off to an angle. Well, I got those suckers, and they were like that thick on the edges. And they made my head, when you looked at me straight on, rather than see this, you saw this. It's like my head had shrunk just within the lenses, and they looked ridiculous. And boy, I got teased about that. So I quit wearing them, and I went back to the old glasses and just suffered until it was time to move into contacts, which was the following year. All they had was hard contacts. They had just come out with soft, but they were twice the price or something. This is again in the 70s, late 70s. And I was told I couldn't wear soft lenses because I had an astigmatism. So I put up with hard lenses all the way through high school, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And my eyes were bloodshot all the time. They hurt. The lenses would actually cut your cornea or cut the surface of your eye. And they were always bloodshot. I was living on Visine. I got really good grades in school, and I would sit towards the back of the room in classes that I found really boring. But I would still get good grades. So people always thought I was a stoner, and I was passing these tests really well because, I'm on speed or something. Because I'd sit in the back, and I had longish hair, and it was now curly again because curly hair was suddenly in. So I was letting it curl. And I would sit back there with my bloodshot eyes. And here I am, this bone skinny, scrawny, 100-pound, 5 foot, 9.5, almost 5'10", I think, by the time I was 16. I'm now only 5'9", and that's another issue. But yeah, that was something too, wanting to fit in. The lenses, made me very self-conscious when I had to wear glasses. Big problem for me. Another thing in high school was my nose. I have a large, prominent nose, and my nose was bigger than my face. It just was. I mean, you'd see a picture, and it's like, I'd turn my head, and it's like, whoa, there's this nose coming at you, because I had a tinier face. Still had a round head, but I had a tiny face and a huge nose. And that was something I was very self-conscious of. I didn't have bad acne, but when I would get pimples, again, very self-conscious of that. Yeah. I shied away from sports, period. Not because, for two reasons. I didn't want to get undressed in front of people. But also, I had a brother who was into sports, and he and I did not get along. And I didn't want to have anything to do with that. I didn't get into drugs for the same reason, because he was doing recreational drugs. My mother was crying all the time about it. And I didn't want to be anything like that, so I stayed away from that too. The same with drinking. I didn't learn to drink in high school because he drank and he would get wasted. And I didn't want to be like that. And moving on to college. Issues in college. Oh boy. My biggest issue, I went to community college first, was with counseling. Because they have career counselors or school counselors that kind of, you show them what you want to take, and they tell you what you need to graduate and to get your degree. So I followed all the rules and directions, and I got down to my final term, 2 years, and they said, oh, well, this is great, but you're not going to get your degree. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, you don't have enough math credits. And I said, but you told me I had plenty of credits to graduate when I started. And he said, oh, no, I said that you were already taking all your high-level classes in high school, so you don't need to take those in college. And I said, yeah, so my math's done, right? And they go, well, you got so many credits for it, but you need 3 more credits of math. And I said, okay, so this last term I'll take statistics, or there was another one. Anyway, he said, no, you can't do that. And I said, why not? And he goes, well, it won't count. And it's like, well, why not? I've never taken these classes. And he said, because those are 100 level classes, And in order for this to count, since you've already taken 300 level classes in high school, you have to take 300 level or higher in order for them to count. Well, I was just really pissed off, and it's like, F it. And I finished out my term and decided that I was going to become a travel agent. Now, those of you who are over 40 probably know what a travel agent is. For those of you who are under 40, travel agents are how you used to have to buy plane tickets and plan vacations, because they were the ones who had access to the systems, the airlines, the train stations, etc., in order to make your itinerary and purchase your tickets. Now you can do it all yourself on your phone or online. But back then you couldn't. You had to hire a professional to take care of that, which meant going to travel school, spending tuition costs, training, and then getting a job at a travel agent or at an airline, because you had to go to travel school in order to get a job, I believe, as a ticket agent as well. And I had no interest in being a flight attendant, but I would be a travel agent or a ticket agent, because then you can get, especially a ticket agent, because then you get free flights. And that was something I really wanted. So I decided not to go to university, which was the plan. I was going to do 2 years of community college and transfer. I decided not to, and instead to go to travel school. And I signed up, and it was a month before school started. And a friend of mine from high school who had gone to the Oregon State University called and said, hey, he had broken his leg. He missed a term or two of school, couldn't drive anymore because he wrecked his car. And I think that's how he broke his leg. Yeah, when he wrecked his car. So he asked if I would give him a ride if I wanted to go to Corvallis, to the Oregon State University. He wanted to visit some friends before the new year started, and he was going to start going there again. So I went down with him, met some of his friends, toured the campus, and thought, wow, this is where I should be. Because if I don't finish college and get an actual degree, because I don't have an associate's because they screwed me out of that math class, I'm going to kick myself for the rest of my life for not doing it. So I went home. I dropped out of travel school, pulled the tuition, and then signed up to transfer to Oregon State University. I'd been in honor society and community college, so being accepted into Oregon State University I think it was a given. I mean, I didn't have any qualms about not being accepted because of that. And my tuition from travel school paid for almost 2 terms at Oregon State University, if not the entire year. It might have been the whole year, because I didn't have to work my first year at Oregon State. And also in that first year, I ended up being on, not willing, I didn't try to, I was asked to be on the crew, which is rowing. And here I was, this scrawny little, at the time I was 120 pounds. Still really tiny and skinny, only I was 5'10". And my roommate that I had taken down to, my friend who I had taken down to school because he couldn't drive, we ended up rooming together. And he came back to the room one day and said, hey, there's this guy you really need to call because you want to travel, right? And I said, yeah, I want to travel. And he goes, well, they want me to be on crew, but I'm too busy. I don't have time for this. But I told him that, you fit the criteria. And I said, what's that? And he goes, you have to be lightweight. And it's like, okay, well, I'm lightweight. So I went and checked it out, and they took me in immediately. They needed coxswains, and I didn't even know what one was. And the coxswain is the person that steers the 4-man or the 8-man slough. Is that what they call it? No, sloughs are we talking? God, it's been so long I don't remember what we call the boats. But they're not boats. They are something. It'll come to me once I'm done videotaping, I'm sure. And they took me in, and I proceeded for the next, two terms until the end of that first year. I proceeded to go 4 or 5 days a week to practice, scream my lungs out. I talk like this the entire second term that I was on crew because I had fried my voice by screaming and yelling every day. And practices were either in the afternoon as it gets cold, or they were early morning when it was cold. And I think most of them were in the morning. We had to be there at 6:30 or I think 6:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning and you're on the river. So it was cold, it was wet, it was miserable. And I also got flack, another issue, from some of the people on crew that I wasn't coming to 2 practices a day because they would come in the morning and then they would come and stay until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I told them, well, I have classes. And they go, we all have classes, but you need to commit to this. And it's like, well, I also can't. My grades are more important than being on crew. So that pissed off some of them. I was placed on junior varsity. And then our final regatta was at, where was it? Not Fernhill. I think it was outside of Sacramento, somewhere in California, Northern California. I think it was Sacramento. But we went down, and oh, by the way, we had taken trips to California, parts of Oregon, and Canada while I was on crew. So I did get to travel a bit. It's on a bus with a bunch of college kids, but it was still fun. When we got down to this final regatta, my team, I was coxing a 4-man team on JV, were really angry at the coach. I don't remember why, but they were angry at the coach. So we're getting out there, and he's yelling at me to, up the stroke. And one of the things I say is stroke, 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 pick it up, pick it up. And the person that is right in front of me is the lead of the boat, and everyone behind him, I almost have the name of the boat. Carriage. Anyway, everyone behind him follows his stroke. So I tell him what to stroke, and they're hearing me, and then he is supposed to duplicate that, and they're all supposed to follow in turn. Well, he wouldn't. In fact, when I would say go higher or faster, more strokes, he would go lower. And my coach was on the shore, and when we got back, we did not win. He was furious. He said, you guys are nothing but shit. And I don't even want you here. Just get out and go home. Leave. There's a van. Go get the keys and drive home. I don't even want you around. He was really, really angry. Well, the guys in my boat said, F him. We're sticking around for the after party because the bus ride home is supposed to be a big party. And in the regatta, all the winners go against each other and all the losers go against each other. So then my 4, they were put in the winner or the loser category. My coach didn't even want us there. He wanted us to drop out, but we didn't. We went into the 4 category, the loser category, and we won. And we got to the shore, and the rest of the teammates of the Oregon State team were all happy. Yeah, congratulations and all this. But the coach wouldn't even speak to us. He was still furious. He said something like, you are the winners of the losing group, which makes you losers in my eyes. Or he said something really mean about that. And they were all just F you. And he told us to leave. Well, they weren't going to leave. But the girls' team was there, and 2 of them wanted to leave. And their coach had given them the keys to their van. And one of them was dating a guy on JV. Wasn't on my boat, but he was in JV. He wanted to leave too. And I felt really, really uncomfortable. I didn't really have any friends in crew. There were 30, 40 people there. And I knew all of them from practicing and rowing there, but none of them were my friends, okay? They were all into partying and drinking, and I just wasn't. So I rode home with the 2 girls, one of their boyfriends, and another person that was one of the girls' roommates. And I knew these girls from Corvallis. As far as friends, these 2 girls were probably the only people I was close with on crew. And I only saw them in Corvallis on campus or at house parties that they would have. They were really kind of punk and out there. And we didn't practice with them, so I never saw them during the actual year or events, or practices. I only saw them at events and on campus. When I say punk rock out there, example, one of them had a beach party, and it was like November. And landlords are going to hate this, but they put 4 inches of sand throughout their entire apartment in every room and put up fake palm trees. And it was a dance party and it lasted all night and it was fun. Now, I don't know who cleaned it up and I don't know what it did to the carpet or the wood floors in the bedrooms, but it was fun. That issue was, what was the issue? I don't remember what the issue was other than adversity because I didn't fit in. I don't know. Oh, and it was rumored that one of the guys on crew was gay or bi, but it wasn't really pursued, and I was still in the closet. So, that's neither here nor there. Oh boy, personal issues. I am well over 20 minutes now, so I should probably end it there. These probably aren't the personal issues you expected me to talk about, but we all have issues, and how have I overcome them? The physical issue, as far as being seen, the nude beach helped a lot. It really builds self-esteem. You don't feel like a freak because everyone's doing it. And if you're ashamed of the size of your body, you look around and you go, wow, there's always someone there that's going to make you look better. It's kind of a snotty thing to say, but it's true. And it really does help your self-esteem. The glasses, I had LASIK surgery in like 1997 or 8, and moved it from legally blind without lenses to 2015. And I still have 2015, but now I have onset cataracts, so things are a bit foggy. And insurance won't cover it because they say after surgery, your eyes are going to be 2030 or 2040. They're not going to be 2015 anymore, so we don't want to do that. Well, I think I would opt for that just so I can see everything clear and precise and not have this fog around the edges. And yeah, that would be really nice. Not fitting in. I've learned that not fitting in is quite all right. In fact, the more different you are, the better you are, because you are unique. You're not like everybody else. And that's the way I think people should strive, is like, be different, be you. Don't change yourself to fit someone else's mold. If people like you, they like you. And if they don't, they don't. And that's on them. Any other issues that I haven't addressed? I don't think so. I guess the biggest issue I have right now is that this is running long and you guys don't need to hear me babble so much. So take care, and I will see you all tomorrow on Friday. And another issue, my voice, it gets tired and it goes out. Bye-bye.
Glasses made me look so Green Day. Curly hair got tangled, couldn't take a peek. Skinny frame, no muscle, no one wanted me. Didn't fit that puzzle, longing to be free. I looked in the mirror, saw a stranger there. Hair too straight or curly, life just wasn't fair. Thick lenses hid my soul, kept me in the dark. But I sparked a fire, a new journey to embark. I'm fitting into my own skin, breaking out from deep within. Turn those scars into wings. Now I sing my own songs, no strings. Undeveloped spirit taking baby steps, learning how to love me in my own depths. They can't see my worth, blinded by the shine, but I'm staking claims, making this heart mine. No past is made, but I don't need their glance. Dancing in my shoes, living in my trance. Every flaw a feature in my vibrant tale, from a fragile creature to a roaring gale.